about the Undercity is back. So all of you guys have done the Lordaeron questline. This is it.
Out, and yeah, pretty much most. So the patch 9.2.5 is out, and yeah, pretty much most of the predictions were right. And finally, after all this time, the Forsaken are ultimately getting a conclusion to their storyline and a start of a new one. From the quest line, we have learned that the Forsaken can manage to counter the Plague of Lordaeron that Sylvanas unleashed back in BFA, and it proved to be stronger than anything we had ever seen before. Then we got a new cinematic with Kelly Manatil having a leading role, but the Forsaken getting a console.
Always use another Death
Whoa, Rez, please. Thank you for the sub, man. Welcome, Death Knight of our Scourge. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. 5 months, damn. Prime sub 5 months in a row to me. You didn't have to. Jesus, man. Thank you so much for the commitment to the stream.
Undead are now in a really unique position. They seem to be retreating from Gilneas and are led by multiple.
Oh, there you go.
So what is all
that's the lore that we were just talking about. The undead are leaving Gilneas.
And are led by multiple people. So what is all this new info, and what does the future hold for the undead? If you guys are in the market for a new
double
mouse,
blood
Steel
DK
Series
tanks today
might just be exactly what you're looking for. Recently, they've sent me these two mice, Aerox 5 wireless and the wired version, and they are excellent mice. The main thing about them is that they're ultra lightweight, literally like a feather in your hand, but at the same time, the
guys
build
need a new mouse.
Quality with a very
What's up, morning?
good
What's
sensor.
up?
Now,
Good morning, Lisa.
I especially like the wireless one because you can also wire it, and you can use it wireless with multiple modes.
We're gonna
and
tank
it has
together
an
today.
Excellent battery life for over 180 hours. The thing about Aerox 5 is that it is one of the most versatile mice on the market with 5 side buttons, and you can use it for pretty much any game. Although if you're a hardcore MMORPG
I've been using
player,
the Razer
Aerox
Naga
9
forever
might be the best choice for you.
Forever.
Another cool thing
I
as
literally
well
can't
is
play
the
without these
Steel
side buttons
Series
anymore.
GG app, where you can customize your hardware, lighting, macros. Furthermore, you can even record gameplay with GG moments at the click of a button. Make sure to check out my link in the description below and get your own Aerox Steel Series mouse.
Yeah,
After
I love my Razer Naga too.
I'd say the Forsaken are the next down the line in terms of injustice down to them with all of these storylines and spotlight, as they have actually been a huge focus of Battle for Azeroth. However, they were abandoned by the Banshee Queen Sylvanas, and they have
the Death Adder
just
also
been in this weird state of limbo for like years. Sylvanas baited the alliance with Burning Teldrassil to attack their only real homeland.
Right,
and
she was just sending souls to the afterlife.
To blight it so that no one can inhabit former Lordaeron anymore.
Green Sween, come as a DPS for now.
At the start, you might think, damn,
if
what happens to the Forsaken now? And we literally didn't even know where they have been living this entire time. To make this matter even worse, most of them followed Sylvanas blindly in this civil war, even though she worked against the interest while she did terrible things.
Green Sween, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge.
And yeah, she just disappeared and told them they are nothing, toy soldiers, and left. And then we went through the Shadowlands, and literally nothing has been going on with the Forsaken for 2 whole years. Even Bane got more action in the new expansion.
Victor Rage chair, they gave it to me.
Now,
I didn't pay for it, but I do like it a lot.
9.2.5 was released. After all this time, their storyline continues, and I gotta say, it is pretty good. A lot of events have happened. There is a pretty elaborate storyline, and
the questline was cool. I liked it.
Erebos to Lordron to Madraxus, and ultimately their storyline not only gets a pretty good conclusion, but it also gets a completely new start.
Don't want to sue me for millions of
potential for the future. So without further ado,
don't worry about it,
let's
Green
examine
Sween.
all the new info that we have and what this will mean for the Forsaken later down the line. As we had already data mined previously, a gathering of sorts happens in Lordaeron. However, it isn't the gathering as I had expected myself, where the Alliance and the Horde united the older families, but instead it is a gathering of the most important Forsaken leaders in order to cleanse their former homeland of the plague that Sylvanas had unleashed, and also in order to determine the future leadership.
Let me know if you guys are in stream.
And through this gathering, we even learn a lot of really interesting lore bits. So as you may already be aware, Kalia Menethil is an undead and the sister of Arthas, the daughter of Theranos, but she is a light-bound undead, so a completely
She's also
different
beautiful.
sort when compared to the Forsaken, as she was resurrected by the light, and really is a race of her own. Now, in the questline, the Forsaken at the start are either kinda indifferent of her, and some just outright oppose her, as they don't really see
Laughing because Cliffy's comment. I like Kalia mostly because she has big boobs, but I am curious to see where her story is going to go. Yeah. The feeling is mutual.
is one of their own. While they have gathered there to discuss the leadership, the future leadership, the main goal of this questline is to do something about the plague, and apparently the Master Apothecary has a genius plan. The entire idea consists of employing these huge plague eaters to just mop up the entire place, and while this sounds good
Yeah,
in theory,
doesn't
this
work so well.
completely falls right at the start.
Owned,
as the
one-shot
plague
it.
eater is just gone right away. Turns out that the plague Sylvanas unleashed is not just your average plague, but something crazy strong. In fact, even crazy for Maldraxxus standards, and they literally came up with this thing. So now, in order to proceed, the council proposes
R.
that they go
Kelly.
to Maldraxxus and to learn from the
Kelly,
creators of the
welcome.
plague itself on what to do, how to counter this, and to enhance the plague eaters. They need to gather a sample from the very heart of the corrupted area where the concentration is the largest, which to most is just a complete suicide mission. However, Kalia, in order to prove her worth, immediately takes on this task, and she dons this big light shield and just goes together with us and brings back the sample. Then
Yeah,
we
she just-
venture to Maldraxxus and this
Before she goes in, all of them are like, yeah, she's gonna die. Like, they're all talking shit behind her back, and then she walks in and comes back out. She's like, what'd you say? Bitch, I ain't just a pair of big tits. I'm also a badass.
us with Margrave Sindane.
It was a cool
as well
moment in
as
the quest.
Plague Lords. We get a bit of a digression as Kalia has a personal
Sam, does the
quest
Dark Ranger skin work on your DK? No, it doesn't. Both Death Knights and Demon Hunters cannot use the Dark Ranger
that
skin,
has nothing to do with the
unfortunately.
plague, but that is relevant to the Forsaken questline.
You-
As
you
may be
unlock
aware,
it, but if you
Maldraxxus
play
is
Death
the
Knight or,
army of the
Demon Hunter, you
Shadowlands,
can't use
literally
it.
the source of all the undeath stuff, the plague, the state of undeath. So you would wager they're quite the experts and the real people to ask all these questions. Kalia asks Margrave Sindane about how the Forsaken don't really like her, as she's a different sort of undead, but the Margrave tells her that she's looking at a difference where there is none. Necromancy is necromancy, undeath is undeath. It really doesn't matter from what source it was drawn from.
Right.
Apparently, the source of undeath is just a battery that powers it, but it is essentially the same thing. So the Forsaken were created by death
Sad.
magic, while Kalia was created by light magic, but ultimately it is one and the same. This doesn't have really too much to do with the cleansing of Lordaeron, but it does have quite a bit to do with the Forsaken.
It's about her
later on
leadership
accepting
role with the
Kalia as
Forsaken.
one of their leaders. So in Maldraxxus, we
Yeah.
continue with our mission, and that is to talk to the Plague Lord, and he attempts to use the sample, but it manifests itself in a terrible way, and he says this is a plague only a true sadist would make, as it is too much even for their standards. But ultimately, this is just the details. We use this sample and take it back to the apothecary. He then uses his cauldrons of plague to make a bunch of new plague eaters, and then we fly over Undercity, throw them around, and the plague is cleansed. Yeah, that is pretty
Yep.
much it. I gotta say, personally, I'm a bit disappointed with how they dealt with this plague in just about 5 minutes total. Personally, I expected some sort of magic, some big light invasion, some grand cleansing event that would happen in another city that would ultimately just clear the entire land, but no. It is essentially just these plague eaters just eating the entire thing and Lord on his cleanse. Of course, I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about the cleansing, but I do feel like it should have been done in a bit more grandiose
Epic.
way. Like
Yeah.
there should have been
More
a bit
epic
more
way.
of an elaborate plan at play.
They should use that on Gilneas. Wasn't it part of the Blighted too? I don't think Gilneas got blighted. It did get invaded by the Scourge though. I think though they should have at least re-unlocked the city, because Gilneas, I mean, Undercity is still not available anymore, and Lordaeron still is useless. So I'm wondering what they're gonna do with it, because that's another. We're talking about in-game assets that aren't getting used. That's another one.
So now that the Undercity is back in Forsaken hands, we get that cinematic that you can no doubt seen with Lily and Voss and the light.
Yeah, that's a cool cinematic.
Looks like I was wrong, and Kalia doesn't really become a ruler. She even says she never wanted to even take over the throne, but instead she just joins the council officially and
was invaded by the
almost
Forsaken.
everyone
Sorry, you're right.
accepts her.
Was it
I'm
Forsaken,
not
not
saying
Scourge? I
everyone is just
misspoke.
taking her in with open hands, but they are more tolerant of her than they were at the start, and she is yet to prove that she is one of their own. Well, from the technical side, Kalia is of course an undead. Let's be real, she never really shared their pain. It isn't really the technicality of undead that bothers the Forsaken, but it is the fact that they shared...
Parsed right now.
servant.
Parsed.
We have a realm
Thank
to
you.
destroy.
Thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge Parsed. Your druid friend, can he come as DPS? We have too many healers right now. We have too many healers, and actually I invited a shaman who also needs to go heal, needs to go DPS. Where is he at? Yeah, Green Sween, I need you to go DPS, man. We have too many healers. I'm switching you over. He is a DPS main? Okay. Okay, so he can come. You guys can come. Just make sure you're DPS.
the same lifestyle, the
JC
same
Death,
goal,
what's
the
up?
same sorrow. And Sylvanas led them through this time. She really understood what it means to be a Forsaken.
Allow the shaman to go healer? Okay. Shami is really strong? Okay, that's fine. Fine. I'll take you guys' advice on it. I don't care. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, I ain't gonna
And was
hate.
just kind of shoehorned into this state.
We're pretty
artificially,
melee
so
heavy,
she
are we?
doesn't really understand deep down what it means to be a Forsaken. She also gets a bit of a cringe name, I gotta admit, the Pallid Lady, and now they're literally just calling
Really?
her that. I know they're going with the entire Dark Lady watch over you thing, and now she isn't the Dark Lady, as the Dark Lady is obviously bad, but she is the Light Lady, but calling her the Light Lady would be kind of weird, so the Pallid version is there, but in my opinion, it sounds even weirder. If you don't know the word, it literally just means the Pale Lady, which is attributed to her skin color, the mix of undead and the light. Ultimately though, as the Pallid Lady is accepted into the so-called Desolate Council that are now the rulers of the Forsaken, and it turns out they will never really have a singular ruler, or at least not in the foreseeable
Right, they have a
future.
council now.
What happens
Blizzard loves
next is
councils.
super interesting and something I will cover in a completely different video, but essentially Kalia returns to Oribos and talks with Gan Greymane, thanks him for his assistance as he sent an undercover agent, saying that she will discuss with the council the withdrawal of the undead troops from Gilneas,
There it
which
is.
might mean
There it is, we just
big
talked about
things
this.
for the future, especially with the current uncertain alliance.
Gilneas is also a great in-game asset. We were just talking about this. This is a beautiful in-game asset that's not used at all. So maybe the undead leaving now, it's gonna get
big things for
get a
the
nice little
future,
refresh and
especially
usable.
with the current uncertain alliance for the relationship. So the reality is now that the Forsaken
The
are
amount of
led by
healers queuing
council,
today,
they
wow.
have their city back, and they will more than likely take over the entirety of Tirisfal Glades, especially if they return Gilneas. I doubt really the alliance will try to hold their ground and just fight the horde. However, what is going on right now is that Undercity wasn't really updated in any significant manner.
That's
There
what I was just
haven't been
saying.
any serious
You still can't even
visual
get down
changes
there.
to the entire area, at least in this patch that was just released.
At least without breaking
this
the game.
entire renewed leadership of the Undead and them taking back their capital might happen in Dragonflight or maybe the expansion after. I feel like now they have kind of dealt with the story and they might update the game later down the line, but there just aren't any significant visual changes in 9.
I personally think I don't have any attachment to the Undercity. I think it was always an ugly ass city. I'd be fine with the undead taking Lordaeron though. I'd be fine with like Lordaeron being used as an in-game asset because that's much cooler. Update it a little bit and give us Lordaeron back. There's so much cool lore that has to do with that city. I don't like the Undercity is what it is. It's just a fucking sewer. I don't care about that.
2.5. Honestly, I only hope that this doesn't end up becoming Gnome Regan 2.0 because if you remember, back in Cataclysm, they started retaking it.
Undercity
yet
was
nearly
awesome.
a
Well, some people like
decade
the
and a half
Undercity.
later, nothing was updated still, and the Gnomes still haven't even received their city back. It has essentially stayed in the same state since
True. Gnome
that
Regan
time.
is
However,
shit.
I do feel like this might be updated soon, maybe with the Dragonflight pre-patch, and maybe it might come together in a
We might get
package
some
with
cool
an
pre-patch
Alliance
content about
Gilneas
this.
and a new and restored Undercity Tirisfal Glades. Thank you for watching. Check out Will We Be
could
Getting More
be.
Paladins and Undead Druids in the future by clicking on the screen, and check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real-world history. See you next time.
Love it. Love it. Look how early I am. He's only got 13 likes. I'm a fan. I'm a fangirl. I'm a Doran fangirl.